Alrighty everyone, welcome back. We are now just a couple of weeks out from the official first episode of The Mandalorian Season 3 debuting on March 1st on Disney+. That's considered to be a game changer by John, George, and Dave when it comes to all of the upcoming Star Wars TV shows and more. Given that yes, we have a lot of announcements on the horizon coming this April at Celebration and D23 later this year. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, yes, given that we have a lot of things happening at the same exact time between Bob Iger, the Disney board, Kathleen Kennedy, John and Dave, I mean, there's a lot of different things that are happening with the Star Wars franchise all simultaneously and where it's all heading. We already know that Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte has been going through quite a bit of trouble as of late because of Kathleen Kennedy's mishaps. But apart from all of that, everything is looking to be very promising and living up to expectations by John and Dave. Now that brings us to Bob Chapek, the fired Disney CEO, and what he had to say about actress Gina Carano. Now, we know that Bob Chapek, at least in my opinion, was more motivated than Bob Iger was without damage control in mind or without that phase of desperation. Bob Chapek really just wanted to create a name for himself, mark down his own legacy, and kind of steer Star Wars in a better direction. And he was actually doing that for a while until he was let go. A lot of it, by the way, had to do with, aspects of the Disney parks and aspects of the Disney Plus streaming service and stuff like that. But on the other end of the spectrum, we have Bob Iger here really embracing the new. It's only that his motivation is through damage control, though, however. Now, moving on to all of this, alright? With that being said, everything about Bob Chapek is that with Disney and Lucasfilm getting ready to develop numerous Star Wars projects and TV shows like films and more for the fandom, it's described that in a recent interview that fired Disney CEO Bob Chapek took part in, he went on to say a couple of things including a full-on apology to Gina Carano. Now Chapek went on to state the following to the fandom. When I was with Disney back in 2021, I think the worst call or worst thing that I and we had to go through as a company was with how we handled the Gina Carano situation that got out of hand, that was not handled professionally, and I just want to let the entire fandom know, and to those that know Miss Carano, that I am, and still to this day, very sorry and very much apologize for how we handled the whole thing that should have never happened the way that it did. Now, he goes on to say, it was unprofessional and cruel, and I do apologize for all of that. I know that currently Mr. Iger and the board are working on a remedy to what happened to Miss Carano, but I am not at liberty to say about what's been going on since I left off. Now, he has more to say about all of this in just a second. I want to actually touch base on something. The thing about this is that Bob Chapek is no longer with Disney. He's able to say these things, more clear, with more confidence. Back when he was actually the CEO, he was only giving like half apologies about Gina Carano and how it really came across as not like a real genuine apology, right? This sounds more like he's being genuine. He's apologizing to not just the fans, but to those that personally know Gina Carano, and Gina Carano herself, by the way. There's a lot of things that are coming out of this because, let's face it, Bob Iger too has spoken about Gina Carano and how he felt about the whole situation and how he believes it was a bad call too. But I'm not quite sure if Bob Iger is really all that sorry. Let's be honest. But when you look at everything related to this, there's a lot of things happening between the overall structure of Disney right now. Now, that's why they're reforming their ideas. They're rebranding a lot of their franchises right now, including Star Wars and Marvel. It's going on under a major makeover, basically. Especially Star Wars. They're bringing it back to the cinema. They're bringing movies back into the theaters. That's their overall end game. And they're also trying to get more TV shows out with higher budgets, not looking as lower budget. So that's another good plus right there. So Bob Chapek, I gotta give credit to him at least, because this is the guy that really kickstarted the idea to give John and Dave privileges over at Lucasfilm, to give them power out over at Lucasfilm, and found a way to grandfather that in to the company. And of course, that meaning that everything is concrete and cannot be changed. It's like woven within the Disney company. So John and Dave's ambitions cannot be altered with. Now, on top of this, he goes on to say, but they do have good plans in the works as far as I know. And before I was replaced some months ago. We knew that Gina was having a hard time on the set of The Mandalorian, where the cast and crew, some crew members, were trying to find reasons of getting her off the show. And looking back, we see that this was a very petty thing to do, and should not be tolerated in any workplace or environment when working on such a big project as this back then. I hope that Mr. Iger sets out great plans to only improve everything related to this great franchise that holds so much value to fans for the past 40 plus years. And you know what? He's right. I mean, nothing like that should be tolerated in any workplace, any working environment, where you have an employee or employees seeking reasons or just trying to find any kind of thing, any petty thing, like he said, to make a person fall. You know, to make a person get, fired or laid off or whatever have you, or anything like that. Now, when we look at Lucasfilm as a company, we know that it's been a very toxic one for the past couple of years, and I'm very thankful that, John and Dave are cleaning up house. They now have the authority to basically fire and hire specific employees and specific, crew members and stuff around the likes. That's another great thing about their privileges over at Lucasfilm now, is that they have been going through a major change over at Lucasfilm, and we might even talk about this a little bit later because there are a couple new developments on this. But Lucasfilm is going under a major facelift, I guess you could say, where you're having a lot of different people coming in that are handling all these projects, and really having and showing a more positive attitude, knowing about the franchise more, having more knowledge about the franchise, and those are the type of creators that you need. Whether you're a visual artist, a concept artist, a director, a writer, it doesn't matter. Holding more value toward a franchise like this and holding a lot of knowledge toward it only makes the process not only easier and smoother, but more passionate driven. And that's what you need. I think that's why John and Dave's material just works. It clicks with fans because to them it's not just a job. It's not just a thing that they signed the contract for. They absolutely love this. They live for this. They eat, sleep, and breathe this. They love what they do. And you know what? I respect that. I really do. So overall, guys, fill me in on what you guys have to say about the whole apology from Bob Chapek to Gina Carano and everything that has been happening with Lucasfilm. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.